Hello, I'm Dr. Penny Seiwert. I'm the department head here at WSU Tech for the business classes.
And I'm Linda Sessions, and I teach business classes here at WSU Tech, as well as mentor students and help them to be the best students they can be. Today, we are going to bring you the first episode of BizBound. And BizBound is where WSU Tech meets industry to help students make the best career choices.
And we are sitting here in the COLAB at the South Campus of WSU Tech. It's a fabulous room for anything that student or a teacher wants to do. So I would say come check us out here at the COLAB sometime. Meet the people that work here. So as we decided to do this Bound podcast, we were thinking students needed a little guidance along the way. For example, when I was a student at WSU, I knew I wanted to do business, but I really didn't know what the different kinds of business opportunities were. And there's so many of them, students don't really think about it. For example, in one of my classes, I tell them, economics, be an economist. Why would you do that? Because they make a lot of money. And they're kind of like a weatherman. You can be right or wrong. You're still going to draw a paycheck. So it ended up that in my studies, I have an accounting degree, but I also ended up with an economics minor, which I wish I would have known a little earlier that you could make money with it, because I might have pursued more of it. So we're trying to let you know these opportunities and where you can find the different stats on the different opportunities.
And we also want to let you know that it's okay to ask people who are doing what you want to be doing. That's how I got into education and advising. I had a great experience with my advisor at WSU, Phil Ladwig, who I'm in still contact with today. And I looked at him one day and I said, I want to do what you do. How do I get there? So ask questions. If there's something you're interested in doing, go do an information interview with them to find out about that job. And it's okay. It doesn't matter what age you are. A lot of people, we work with a lot of students from age 18 to 60 and beyond, and it's okay to change careers. Just ask questions. Don't be afraid.
And when I'm dealing with students, when Linda was talking about changing careers, I have many of them that are maybe they've been in business or industry for quite a while, and then they decide to be an entrepreneur. And that's very prevalent in Wichita. So many people, maybe an entrepreneur is not their first job, but it's their second job. And they are absolutely flourishing in it because they learned the skills along the way to be good at it. Because when you're an entrepreneur, the stats are that really in about 5 years, probably over 75% of the businesses are going to fail. So if you can take some steps from our podcast or in the industry to help you be successful, that's what we want to do, give you that extra little bit.
Follow your passion. I think that's entrepreneurs do. They find something that they love. And face it, when you are working, you are at work longer than you are at home. So it really is so important that you find something that meets your needs both economically and emotionally, because you got to love what you do.
And you can be an entrepreneur in any job. You don't have to have your own business. When we sit here and we teach at WSU Tech, but there are other things we do to try to be an entrepreneur in our, in our business lives. We might have something that we've created, or we share something. What's really big in industry right now is coordination, collaboration. People don't do things by themselves, and nor should they. There's a lot of people around now to help you. And so you can be an entrepreneur in your own industry if you have a job. Let's say at a big corporation, you can do these things too. You don't have to go out on your own. And that's a great skill to have is, I guess we always say, thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
You never know which idea is going to be that idea that the company picks up and says, we want to implement that.
Yeah. And that's one thing as a business student you want to do is make sure you have communication skills, that you know how to bring those ideas across. If you can't communicate your idea, then how are people going to know what you're doing? So being able to communicate is a great skill for business students to have.
And in fact, we do have business communication classes because it is a little bit of a different type of communication. Business is a language, I feel like. Accounting is a language. You want to be able to speak those languages as you talk to employers or your, fellow coworkers. So as you wonder why we have to take all these classes. Maybe you're not interested in marketing, but someday you might have a part of a marketing team that you're coming from your expertise. So as we go through business classes, we talk about accounting, finance, marketing, operations, management. There's always going to be a piece of that you'll use in your career. And there were a lot of classes I thought there's no way, but there is way. I do use those in everything that I do.
You do. And it's a lot of people come into the business communication class. They're like, I know how to talk. But we look at so much more in that class, written communication, verbal communication, and just runs the gamut. And it's a little different than going to your neighbor and talking. But then again, sometimes it's just the same, like walking and talking to your neighbor, especially if you like what you do. Makes a huge difference.
And I feel like, yes, we have, meetings that we go to and we talk about solutions and problems and things like that. But critical thinking and problem solving comes right when you're in your own job. Linda and I talk about a lot of things that we try to solve problems before we even get to a meeting, and try to think of new things to do, new ways to do something, because critical thinking and problem solving are such a big items in business. Plus the collaboration point. Those are, I call them kind of the words, I guess, the big words in business now.
Yep.
You're going to have those skills. And for somebody like me, to collaborate was real hard to learn, but you can learn new skills. So that's a good thing,
That's right.
I see that all the time in my classes.
In being adaptable, you've got to be able to be adaptable as you're working in businesses. Times change all the time. I mean, face it, right now, AI is taking over, and you've got to be flexible. You've got to be adaptable in order to be successful wherever you're at. And go along with that is teamwork skills and leadership skills. Penny and I work great together. In fact, we talk about being thing one and thing two, or I'm thing one and she's thing two. We just work off each other together. And so that is a great skill to have, your leadership and teamwork skills.
And on the leadership, that's something that usually is one of my goals, because I always want to be a better leader as I go through my career. And so a lot of things are new. And as Linda just said, she talked about AI. One of the things we've been kind of, looking at is ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And so just learning about new things to help students do their work and maybe do a job in the future, because these are big subjects for students, and we need to know so we can tell you how to use it and when to use it.
And that's one of the fun things about working at WSU Tech, is that we are up on all the new technology and on the new things that people are facing and what are students actually facing in the workforce. That's what we're here to help you be. And so we look at what's happening in the real world, what's happening that you see in the news, and how is that affecting you as a student, and how can that affect you as you work and choose your career going forward.
With the ChatGPT and AI, as we've mentioned, it's new, it's brand new to everybody. So we try to walk a student through, or even a colleague maybe, the ethical issues about it. Because, when I use it, it's fun, but if I wouldn't use it, just in a work, as far as I was doing my homework, that kind of thing. So we're here to help guide not only students, but people how to use these new tools that'll help our life be better.
That's right. So a couple of other things that you want to think about as a business student is being ethical and being responsible as you make decisions. That is something that will carry on with you no matter where you work, no matter where you go in life. You've got to make ethical decisions. And in this day and age with social media and Facebook and everything being recorded, what you do at home can possibly bleed over into what you do at work. So you've got to be aware of what you're doing on social media. You've got to be aware of making some decisions and being ethical. And your schoolwork, making sure you're turning in your own work, not somebody else's. And the same with work. If somebody presents you with an idea, when you take it to your boss, make sure you give them credit.
That's that's very good too. I just have to say, as we are taking classes here, Linda and I were at a point, we're still learning. We're always learning. And we're learning something today with a podcast, but the thing is, always be learning something new and always have that little extra that you can tell a colleague or you can tell your boss, and they'll remember these things. They'll go, well, I didn't know about that, particularly like something like ChatGPT. There's a lot of people that really don't know it or understand it. And just knowing that next thing and working on, as she had said, your leadership skills and what you could contribute are huge anymore. You can have all the education in the world, but using it in a practical, ethical, and what would you say, just responsible way is going to be great for a career.
That's right. And as you go forward in your work and in your school life, you always want to be continuously learning and doing professional development. Just like she said with the ChatGPT, play around with it. Don't be afraid of technology. Embrace it. It's not going to go anywhere. And you're not really going to break your computer by looking around. Just don't hit delete unless you know what you're doing. But anyway, always learn something new. I'm getting ready to learn about how to use Mac computers. What are you learning?
How to go on a cruise.
Hey.
But I'm sure there'll be business about it.
Yes.
So yes, well, I was just going to say, every business class feels like it's just focused on one thing. I have an introduction to business class, but we do many things. We talk about marketing. We talk about ethical things. So every class is going to probably have a little bit more than just say we're learning accounting. Well, why are you learning that? Because we want our accounting, we want the business to be ethical. We're going to do the correct things and learn the correct way to do these things as we're a student. So even though we take these classes and we think, why, I don't know if that's going to really benefit me, most likely it will down the line in some way. So we're trying to help students to see that there's value in every class that you're taking, and that at some point that value is going to, and you're going to go, wow, that really was important at that point.
And you might not realize it until years later. All of a sudden you're thinking, oh, we did talk about that. But you're actually going to be learning some new things in every single class that you take. And you always want to be learning. In this day and age, if you stand still, it's like a pond that doesn't have new water coming into it, it dies. And in this day and age, and especially in the business world, if you're not learning new things, you're going to not make it. And you're going to find yourself one day waking up going, why didn't I get that promotion? So always learn, keep learning, always. And research your opportunities. And one place you can research your opportunities is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. And that is a resource that's actually published by our government. So, hey, your tax dollars are helping create it. It's created by the U.S. Department of Labor and Statistics, and they look at careers. And we are going to look at that more in depth at our next BizBound episode. But you can actually go right now on your iPhone or your Android, and there's an app for that.
There is.
And you can go over and you can look at and see, well, like accounting. If you will look at that today, it's got a 6% growth rate. So it's pretty steady and pretty trending job that you can get into.
And I have to say, really all business jobs, there's a need for them, and they're all trending up, particularly things like analysis and, how can you squeeze that last maybe profit out for something. So there's so many things. Maybe if you're not a number person, you look at the marketing aspect of it, you're going to sell something, that's maybe your thing, or possibly in operations, maybe that's it. Right now, operations is very important because, well, particularly Christmas is coming up. So holidays, anyway, we want to get our stuff here. So we want to have supply chain. So who would have ever thought about that? So yes, I think there's so many subjects and so many types of jobs that are out there. The next time we're going to look at some more of those.
Yeah.
And what they pay.
Yep, exactly. And maybe look at how to do an informational interview like we talked about earlier, just to go talk to somebody, because there's all sorts of jobs in every industry that you can do with business. So it's a very broad spectrum and something that we hope you get into. And we hope you join us here at WSU Tech in our classes, or just stop by and say hi. We hope that you've liked what you've seen today. If you have,
like, subscribe, and comment. And we will put resources at the end, for example, on this occupational job site, so you can see how much these jobs are going to be paying you in your career when you're done here.
Yeah, the website will be listed in the comments below, and please leave us your comments.
Like, and subscribe, and comment, please.
Yeah, let us know what you'd like to hear about. And next time we're going to be looking at the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So,
and telling you how much you're going to make when you're done. You're going to be happy about that.
That's right.